Hello and welcome to Hysteria. I'm Erin Ryan.
And I'm Alyssa Mastromonaco.
Alyssa, this week, NBC News reported that Trump administration officials, led by Tulsi Gabbard, have mulled turning the president's daily intelligence briefings into Fox News-style video segments.
It's unbelievable.
The president hates reading, and so he's only been to like 14 intelligence briefings since he re-entered office in January, which is not many compared to how many days there have been.
I think Obama had done like 55 at this point.
Yeah.
In person.
Actually, I think Trump 1 had done 55 at this point. Like, he is like reading even less than he was reading in 2017.
He's got senioritis.
Yeah, he really does in more ways than one. Okay, so my question is a two-parter, Alyssa.
Yeah.
If the president is skipping most of his daily intelligence briefings, then who is driving the country?
Well, Erin, I think we all know it's Houthi PC small group chat.
Oh, God.
And I'm not
horrible.
sure they're reading the briefings either, but I know they're getting a lot done on that WhatsApp.
Yeah, no, they're doing
Signal,
a lot,
whatever they're using now.
They're doing a lot of Signal, the Signal clone that got hacked, that one.
Yeah, that
cool.
one.
I'm sure we'll find out what they're talking about sooner or later when it's in the New York Times or the Washington Post.
The Atlantic.
The second part of the question, if you were going to get daily intelligence briefings in some kind of video format, how would you prefer them presented to you?
Oh, Erin, I would love, if I were president and I needed my intel briefing, I'd love it in a get ready with me format.
Get ready with me as I talk about the situation in
We're
Ukraine.
starting off in the Maghreb and we're going to head over to Europe, but get ready with me.
You're listening to Hysteria, the podcast that's celebrating Pride Month by agreeing that the gay nun, played by Rosie O'Donnell, is the least cringy love interest in season 3, episode 1 of And Just Like That.
Hands down.
And it's so funny because she's written to be cringe. She's
written to be cringe. I'm like judging Miranda. I'm like, who are you, like a superpower lesbian now that you can be like judgy with poor earnest nun who wants to just like experience this once in her life?
Right.
I was on Rosie's side.
Completely team sister. What do they call her? Sister Mary Tourist?
Sister Virgin Mary.
No, this is called
and tourist.
Sister Mary Tourist.
Yeah.
I thought that they were trying to make fun. I mean, I get it. They were like dunking on things that tourists like to do in New York. Sad they didn't get more into 9/11 jokes because I feel like that's the number one thing tourists do in New York is like go to the 9/11 memorial and buy souvenirs.
They do. I do go to the 9/11 memorial every morning when I'm in the city.
Well, I mean, if it's on your way.
And I'm not a tourist.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I just, I thought that show really debuting so close to the beginning of Pride Month as a straight woman has really driven home the fact that being a straight woman is embarrassing. It is embarrassing. It is like, just like, it is a series of like, awkward and like the Aiden scene is just like horrible. Carrie, you don't need him. You don't need anybody. You've
got
great.
That whole house. You don't need anybody but Shoo the cat.
Yeah, although I sent some foreshadowing that Shoo escapes.
Okay, so we can get this was part of my Sani Petty this week, so we can dig in even deeper.
We can dig in even. Let's put a pin in and just like that, and move past the bread and circuses and into what the bread and circuses are distracting from.
Yikes.
Yeah, this is. I'm sorry. I just wrote that segue in my brain, and as I was saying it, I was like, "This is stupid," but whatever.
No, it's not stupid.
Well, thank you. That's really nice of you to say. Okay, so on Tuesday there was some late breaking news before we recorded. The Trump administration has rescinded the Biden-era guidance on EMTALA, the Emergency Medical Treatment and Labor Act, which requires hospitals that participate in Medicaid to stabilize a patient in emergency condition. So that sounds like, okay, well, like, why would the Trump administration rescind that guidance?
Oh, we know why.
Because after Roe v. Wade was overturned, Biden added guidance to it that clarified that hospitals have an obligation to provide abortion care to patients if needed, to pregnant patients if needed, in states that have abortion bans and in states that don't have abortion bans. So no matter where you are in the country, if you're a pregnant person and you go to the hospital and an abortion is necessary to stabilize you for transport to another facility, then the hospital needs to provide it. The Biden administration did that. On Tuesday, Trump rescinded that guidance. the go ahead and die guidance, I guess we'll call it. Now hospitals will be instructed to preserve the life of the unborn child. Dr. Jamila Parrott, an OBGYN president of the Physicians for Reproductive Health, she said in a statement that complying with this law can mean the difference between life and death for pregnant people, forcing providers like me to choose between caring for someone in their time of need and turning my back on them to comply with cruel and dangerous laws. Alyssa, according to The Guardian, 5 women have reportedly died after having their care denied or delayed and being unable to access legal abortions. So, Alyssa, how is this pro-life?
It's not. It's not even remotely pro-life. And it's like, and imagine that these are the five women we know about. Mm-hmm. You know, knowing about them relies on their partner or a family member coming forward and explaining how and why they died.
Mm-hmm. I think it also relies on like the providers being kind of straightforward with the patient's family, because there is I mean, I hate to say this, and I probably there's a better word for it, but there's probably a way that providers try to finesse a preventable death when they're talking to a family member who is distraught.
Right.
And I'd imagine that there are probably ways that hospitals and providers would attempt to like sidestep responsibility for deaths that could have been prevented if they weren't trying to comply with draconian laws. Mm-hmm. How can we keep track of these things if like there are pregnant people who are like dying, or family members who really just don't want to be dragged into the public eye to tell this story and relive their trauma over and over
I have
again?
no idea. Like that's the whole point, right? How can you keep track? I mean, we know of the 5 because their families made their stories public, because local media picked up the stories, which we're like very reliant on local media right now for reporting on some of this stuff when it's not really incentivized. And it's up to people like you and me to make sure that if we find out about it, we talk about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and here's something that I've seen, and it's really frustrating because I think it's bad faith. But I see people kind of on the right saying like, well, what rights have been taken away from you? Name a right that's been taken away from you. What bad thing has happened? I mean, we can cite specific examples of like, specifically, there were 2 women in Texas who went to the ER to seek treatment for ectopic pregnancies and were had their care delayed, and both of them lost one of their fallopian tubes as a result. So they lived to talk about it. And because their care was delayed, despite the EMTALA guidance under the Biden administration, they were able to complain to the federal government about the hospital. So there was like there was a mechanism for these women in Texas to hold the hospital accountable when they kind of ignored federal guidance in favor of like following this state law, or following the scariest imagined version of the state law, which is what hospitals do. And so like that's happening. It's not just people are dying. You know, I mean, there are 5 people that we know of who died, but there are how many countless others who had their care delayed, who lost fallopian tubes, who lost fertility,
right?
Like,
That's the difference between saving someone's life and their health being at risk, right? You go into the hospital and your health is at risk. You have an ectopic pregnancy. You have a pregnancy that is self-terminating. And you, by Trump's standard, need to be dying. If the doctor says, if we get in there now, we can save your uterus, we can save this, that's not on the table. It's not on the table. You need to be, according to Trump, in full sepsis and about to die for the doctor to then not be liable to be put in prison in some states for giving you health care.
And fined, like, I think in Texas, the fine is like $100,000.
It's ridiculous.
You can have your medical license revoked. You can get thrown in prison. And it's like, if you're a doctor, I know doctors want to care for patients and they want to help people get better. Like the fact that sometimes people don't get better or people die causes doctors to experience burnout.
Yeah, of course.
Causes healthcare professionals to experience burnout and like severe mental health consequences when they're trying to do something and they can't do the thing that they are driven to do. And it's just it's such a awful situation. And I also think that it's like it's red meat for the anti-choice crowd, because so far Donald Trump really hasn't. I mean, like right now, the anti-abortion movement is in like a state of disarray in the country, to be totally honest. They're the dog that caught the car, and now they're trying to decide if they're going to maul the driver of the car or if they're just going to go like lick their ball sack, to torture that metaphor. But like they're very splintered. They don't have a singular goal. And pulling back this EMTALA guidance is something that I think a lot of people on the anti-abortion side can agree is something that they wanted. So it's like something that Trump can be like, okay, here you go. I don't think he really cares about abortion either way. I really don't.
Oh, I think you're right. I totally think you're right. This was a gimme for them.
Yeah. But, in the meantime, the anti-abortion movement right now is so disorganized. And I think that it's really important for us as we're sort of like figuring out a way forward to remember that 2024 was a disaster in terms of like the result of the election, but abortion is still a winning issue.
Yep.
And the more we can get Republicans to talk about it and the more we can get Republicans to engage on it, the more we can point out how harmful anti-abortion policies are and the more we can drive home to voters and people who maybe don't think about it as much until it directly affects them, that it could be you. Like this could be you.
Could be you. And abortion, Erin, not just popular in 2024, popular in dark red states.
Mm-hmm. Popular everywhere. So maybe let's not forget about it because this EMTALA, rescinding the EMTALA guidance of the Biden administration was just cruel and stupid. But that's, I think, a good way to describe this administration anyway.
Yeah.
Hysteria is brought to you by Quince. Every Father's Day gift guide I see is kind of boring, right? It's like socks, grill tools, get your dad a lawnmower, get your husband a line. And it's like, this, you can do better. We can all do better.
Yes, upgrade.
We can do better. Thankfully, Quince makes buying a thoughtful Father's Day gift easy. Quince has all the pieces dads actually want to wear, like organic cotton silk polos, European linen beach shorts, and comfortable pants that work for everything from weekend hangouts to nice dinners.
The best part? Everything with Quince is priced 50 to 80% less than you'd find at similar brands. By working directly with top artisans and cutting out the middlemen, Quince gives you luxury pieces without the crazy prices. And Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices and premium fabrics and finishes.
Alyssa, do you want to know what happened to me just literally days ago? I come home and there's a package on my porch from Quince. And I'm like, oh, did Quince send me something? No, the package is addressed to my husband. I go in and I'm like, did you order something from Quince? And he was like, yes, I did. And I was like, they're a sponsor of my show. We could probably use our promotional code to get you something. And he goes, oh, no, I just went on my own and I bought something. He bought pants. Oh. They look really nice, but he didn't use it. He just on his own. He never buys clothes. All of his shirts, he's going to get mad at me for saying this, but he rarely buys clothes for himself because he doesn't like having too much stuff. But Quince makes really nice, stylish, sharp-looking, well-made clothing that is versatile and is within a price range that does not make my husband break out in hives. And it is like, he gets it himself. That's how much he likes it.
No, I have the funniest true story.
Okay, tell me.
You just telling that story. So at Quince, the Mongolian cashmere crew neck sweater is back. Ooh. And I had always wanted it in butter. So I ordered it like 3 days ago for myself in butter. It should be here soon. Erin, I totally forgot to use our code.
You know what? I do need to re-up my summer clothes big time. So I'm going to make sure my husband is taken care of and that I'm taken care of. As soon as we're done recording, I'm going to go check out Quince. For the dad who deserves better than basic, Quince has you covered. Go to quince.com/hysteriapod for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/hysteriapod to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/hysteriapod.
Hysteria is brought to you by Armor Colostrum. We live in an environment our biology was never designed for. EMFs, artificial light, seed oils, microplastics, endocrine disruptors, chronic stress. These modern assaults disrupt cellular signaling, negatively impacting gut health and accelerating aging. Armor Colostrum revives cellular signaling, bolstering our health from within to defend against everyday threats. Colostrum is nature's first whole food with over 400 bioactive nutrients that work at the cellular level to reactivate your body's innate capacity to regenerate and thrive. Ready to reclaim your health?
Here are some of the benefits of Armor Colostrum. Strengthened immunity. You can also fortify your gut health. You can combat bloating and feel lighter. Probiotics are touted as a gut health solution, but they only address one part of the 4-part gut wall, and most products on the market are dead before they even reach your gut. Armor Colostrum naturally fortifies your entire gut wall system, optimizing your microbiome and strengthening the gut wall architecture, which guards against irritants that can trigger symptoms like bloating and constipation. It also strengthens your gut barrier to guard against chemicals and pollutants that can drive inflammation and slow down metabolism. Armor colostrum helps enhance nutrient absorption, stabilize blood sugar levels, and modulate hormones like leptin that ignite your body's fat-burning capacity for your peak metabolic performance.
We worked out a special offer for our audience. Receive 15% off your first order. Go to tryarmra.com/hysteria or enter Hysteria to get 15% off your first order. That's TRYARMRA.com/hysteria.
So let's transition to something else. Alyssa, in my world, the only person worthy of the term Big Beautiful Bill is NBA legend Bill Russell, or maybe Bill Walton.
Oh, give me Bill Walton. Give me my Celtic deadhead.
I mean, let's talk about the Big Beautiful Bill.
Oh, the Big Beautiful Bill, as Trump likes to call it, and now Mike Johnson likes to call it. And
it's so gross coming out of Mike Johnson.
It's so gross. It's better. I like Elon's version better, Big Disgusting Bill or whatever he calls it. It passed in the House last month. Because this is a reconciliation bill, Senate Republicans only need a simple majority to pass it. However, there are already signs that some may defect from the party, mostly due to concerns about the budget deficit, and Republicans can only afford to lose 3 votes. The thing about this beautiful bill is that it is big, so we know some threads are getting lost in the shuffle with news coverage. Here are some of the parts we wanted to highlight that could have major consequences on women and families. Oh, Erin, here we go. Down the work requirement rabbit hole. Medicaid. According to KFF, the bill would reduce federal Medicaid spending by $723 billion and increase the number of uninsured people by 7.6 million. It would also prohibit Medicaid from covering care for non-abortion services provided by Planned Parenthood clinics, which is
why
fucking dumb.
Why?
What is the point?
That's just like it
is where healthcare deserts get care.
It is existing healthcare infrastructure for people that are underserved, and it's not like, what the fuck? That's so stupid.
It's just cruel for the point of it. It would also limit gender affirming care as essential care under the Affordable Care Act plans, and would prohibit Medicaid from covering those treatments, not just for minors, but for adults as well. Okay, good for you.
Okay.
Child tax credit. Here we go. The BBB, Big Beautiful Bill, would increase...
let's not call it that.
We're just going to call it the bill.
Okay.
The bill would increase the child tax credit to $2,500 from $2,000 through 2028. But there are provisions in the House version of the bill that require both children and parents to have a Social Security number, excluding families with mixed immigration status to access the benefit. The bill would also decrease the refundable portion of the credit to $1,400 per qualifying child, down from $1,700, which makes the credit less accessible to the lowest income families.
Okay, so the bill requires both children and parents to have a Social Security number, excluding families with mixed immigration status to access the benefit. Okay, wouldn't this incentivize women women who have children with men who are undocumented or who have an immigration status that is in process? Wouldn't that incentivize them to exclude them from the birth certificate of the child? Couldn't you just say the father was unknown? I mean, I'm just saying, like,
no, yeah, they're. All of this is just stupid.
Like, it's creating, oh God, it's creating problems that don't need to exist by dismantling a system that is not perfect, but is better than the worse version that they're trying to replace it with. You know, like,
yeah.
Why would you? That's so stupid. And also, like, making it less affordable to lowest income families. I mean, that completely tracks with other Trump and Republican proposals for the child tax credit. Because the way the child tax credit worked, like during COVID, was that it was issued in portions as like a payment. And it was people who were below the threshold of people who pay taxes were eligible for it. So they got it in the form of essentially payments. And a lot of Republican plans make it so that if you are so low income that you don't pay taxes, then you don't get any. It doesn't like benefit you at all.
Right.
So it's just like, but those are the people. But those are the kids that need it. Those are the people that need it the most. Like, why aren't we giving them money? I don't understand. Are we just? And also, and here's another thing. Okay. That amount of money means a lot to people that are low income and means less the higher income you are. But I think it's clear that the natalists, the pro-natalists in the Trump administration want to incentivize higher income, wink, wink, white people to have more children. But higher income people are not going to be swayed to have more children, but with like a $1,400 payment.
Totally.
It's like, that's literally, that's like a high-end car payment. You know, like,
right.
That's not enough money to be like, I'm on the fence about having a kid, life-altering decision, going to cost me like $300K in the next 18 years. You know what? They're going to give me $1,400. I think I'll do it.
Seems like a plan. I'm in.
It doesn't make sense. Like, you know, when I say economically speaking, I don't just mean money economics. I mean like decision-making economics. It doesn't make sense as a way to incentivize a decision that big. I don't know what they're doing. Like it's so like I'm trying to think of it from their perspective. Like, okay, so what they want to do is incentivize people who make more money to have more children, right? But this isn't enough money for it to make a difference, so it's not going to work for them. And then it's also punishing lower income people. So it's like, what's going on? What are you doing?
I don't know. Makes no sense.
Something else that was absolute shit is that parents with children under 18 are exempt from the working requirement to qualify for SNAP, but the House version of the bill lowers that age to 7 years old. So if you have a kid that is 8 or older and you're on SNAP, you will be required to work. The bill would also raise the age for aging out of work requirements from 55 to 65.
Which, okay. So first of all, this is an issue in search of a problem. 84%, as of 2018, 84% of people who receive SNAP who are married, a married couple, work. And 44%, at least one person works part-time. Like it is, people work. People work.
Also
you don't need to force work.
But providing childcare is work. It is labor.
Well, and that's the point.
That is why a stay-at-home mom is like someone they're working. They're not getting compensated. No, but they're working.
And the people who don't work, the people who are on SNAP who don't work, typically are not working because of disability or caregiving. Mm-hmm. It's not because people are home, lazy, just collecting their fucking SNAP.
Wouldn't it be convenient for people who oppose helping poor people if that were the case? But it's not. It's not. It's just like it's a fiction that has persevered because it's easier to cut when that fiction when you've imagined that fiction is the real thing. You know, I think that I don't understand why there isn't a program to actually pay people to take care of their own kids. And listen to me.
Here, okay, let me hear.
Because because there are some state programs. I know in the state of Wisconsin, I don't know if this still exists in the state of Wisconsin, but I know that if you have an older relative that is like on the cusp of needing to go to a long-term care facility, you can go take care of them and like log those hours with the state and get paid an hourly stipend to do it. So like rather than the state paying a home health aide to come in or paying for them to go to a long-term care facility or whatever, which is way more expensive and less comfortable for the person, they just pay the like family member to provide that care and those services. Yes. And that way the family member can afford to take time off work to do it because they're actually being compensated to provide the care. Why are we doing this with kids? I don't understand. Like
it makes total sense.
I mean, they're just as helpless as a person who can't they cannot do anything for themselves, and they need someone to take care of them. I don't understand why we don't do that. Probably because we're mean as a country. We're dumb and mean.
Dumb and mean.
Okay, so Alyssa,
it's very depressing.
It's super depressing. Also, Trump wants this on his desk by the 4th of July.
Not a chance. I think not a chance.
You think not a chance? Why do you think that?
Let me tell you why. Because people are getting angry. So I could be wrong, but so the Senate, they don't want to pass this. Even like they're all very nervous about this. And did you see Marjorie Taylor Greene's all up in the mix? Because girl came out and admitted she didn't read the bill. Mm-hmm. And on page like 279, she found out that there's a provision that says the federal government cannot regulate AI for the next 10 years.
10 years. And you know what? A broken clock. Because I'm with Marjorie.
And she's like, don't you take states, right? And she went nut and was like, mea culpa, I didn't read it. If I did, I wouldn't have read the bill. I wouldn't have voted for the bill. So here's the interesting thing. I mean, look, I'm taking her at her word. Let's say I'm taking her at her word. If the Senate passed the bill exactly as is and sent it back, no. Say they made little changes, right? Because then it would have to go back to the House, and the House would have to vote on it again. Oh, would the Freedom Caucus is like, we've been clucking like chickens that this is not a good bill. So would she vote for it? Would it then not pass in the House? I think there's some drama cooking. And I'm here for it.
It is, yeah. And also Rand Paul, another broken clock.
Yeah.
That is right. He's like, guys, this is dumb. Ron Johnson, third dumbest senator.
Josh Hawley.
Yeah. They're all like, this isn't cool, guys.
Josh Hawley's like, this is really mean to poor people.
Josh Hawley is 100% running for president in 2028, and I'm fucking dreading it. No, not fine.
No,
not fine.
Let me tell you something.
If
it saves Medicaid right now, let him run. Don't care. Let him do what he's got to do.
Let him cluck out or whatever he's going to do. But yeah, I agree with Josh Hawley in this one
time
single instance. See, here's the thing: Marjorie Taylor Greene, a dick. Rand Paul, we can all agree, a dick. Josh Hawley, a dick. But every once in a while, a dick stands up for you in a way that benefits you.
And you don't have to say thank you, but you can acknowledge it.
You could be like, thank you, dick, for this one time that your dickishness worked in my favor. It's funny also to watch John Thune, who a lot of people that we like female senators that we like, also have enjoyed working with. I think Amy Klobuchar has worked with him on things. Like he's one of those Republicans that like Democrats in the Senate are like, he's fine. You know, like nobody's fine. Like John Thune is a dick. Nobody, right? No, people don't say that about him. But I'm going to be a little catty right now because he's the one that's got to like usher this through. And I saw a presser where he was talking about how he thought he could do it, whatever. That man has reached Boehner-esque levels of tan. There is not that much sun in South Dakota, my dude. There is not that much sun.
Time of year, but also so gray. Like, look, I will say he's the job's. I feel like the job is aging.
God, he is aging like an overripe peach. Right? He's like fuzzy and gray and also very, very orange. I don't understand. Like, poor John Thune. Not really poor John Thune because I
feel like he's trying. I feel like, look, he is the best option that we had in the Republican Senate to be leader.
Right. It's like saying, yeah, he's the best of some bad choices. Do you think Medicaid could or should be more effectively reformed than?
Sure.
Like, what would you do if you had to like write your own small?
Well, Erin, I am not a policy person, but I would say that it appears that the use of technology could really help streamline some things. Like, let's get telemedicine, let's get records being more easily retrieved, things that doctors can pull up. You know, it's like, it feels to me that the Medicaid system is quite antiquated, and that if they brought it, if Elon Musk had actually used all of his tech bros for something, they could have gone in and maybe just made a much more streamlined like system so that people also, let's get some better communication, some transparency, some more preventative screenings. I think what is such a huge problem with Medicaid is it is such a difficult system for people to use that by the time they're actually seen, they are much sicker than they were, which is much more expensive to treat than when they initially tried finding help for themselves. So I think making it more accessible, making it more modern, I think all of these things would help both people get better service and the costs come down.
Yeah, I mean, and that kind of brings me to a point that I wanted to bring up, and I'm sure we'll hit on this again. There was and that's like the unpopularity of a lot of things in this bill. Like most Americans, if you were like, hey, do you think that the government should be legally not allowed to regulate AI for 10 years? Most Americans would be like, no, like I don't like that at all. Like, and do we want to see big cuts to healthcare, and do we want to see cuts to Social Security? Do we want to see tax breaks to the 1%? And do we want to increase the deficit by like an eye-watering amount of money?
Right.
Like, no, like people were saying before they voted for Trump, which I don't believe these people at their word, but let's just say we can take them at their word. They said they were voting on him for him because of the economy. They were worried about the deficit. They wanted to cut, like they were excited about Elon Musk joining the administration because they wanted to cut waste, but actually they've spent more money with, what is happening is we're not cutting waste.
No,
we're not spending less money. We are cutting these programs, and these things are pretty unpopular. And yet we are finding over and over again, I think like once a week, there's a feature with like a pull quote that everybody passes around where it's like, the leopards ate my face,
right.
where it's like people who are facing the consequences of their vote in a way that with like a complete like befuddlement. Like they cannot believe that the thing that they voted for is happening to them. Like, it's crazy. The latest one was a New York Times feature on a small town in Missouri where 80% of the population voted for Trump. But then a beloved community member named Carol was taken into ICE custody because when she came over from Hong Kong decades ago, she didn't maintain the proper documentation. She was a mom. She had kids. She was an active member of the community. And somebody in the article was quoted as, "We didn't think they would be. I didn't vote for them to deport moms," or something like that.
No, they said criminal. We voted for him to deport criminals, not moms.
Not moms. But the thing is, like, you did. You did. And something tells me that even though one of their favorite moms was just taken into ICE custody in a way that was upsetting to members of the community, something tells me that 80% of that town is still going to vote red next time around.
Probably.
Why do you think that's the case? Why do you and I like kind of have the same inkling of why that's the case?
No, why do you think it's the case?
So here. I mean, because I think like you and I are both kind of circling something. I think that Democrats who are like, these are who we got to win back. These are the voters we're going to win back. I don't think they're winnable. I think that they'll vote for Trump 80% or whoever is the Trumpiest by like massive margins again. And I think it's because Donald Trump has successfully transformed political support into a sort of fandom, like cheering for a team.
100%.
And like trying to convince, for Democrats being like, ooh, we can win these guys back, is like if a bunch of Ravens fans went to Pittsburgh and they were like, we're going to win some of these Steelers fans because it looks like the team isn't going to be good for a while. Like, no, you're not. They're fans. They're fans.
They're fans. They may take their jersey off. They may not go to games, but they're still fans. People get mad at their teams, but the minute their team wins a game,
they're back in the stadium.
I think that there are people, like best case scenario, I think there are people who voted for him who, for one reason or another, may be disillusioned and then may not go out to vote in 2024, right? I think that's like the best case scenario. I don't think that a lot of people, who are upset on the behalf of Carol in Missouri are going to go vote for a Democrat in 2024 or 2020. I don't think that that's the case. And I also think that the way these stories happen, like, yes, this is sad, they will have forgotten about Carol by then.
Mm-hmm. Right. Carol was a small price to pay.
Right. It's like, we're sorry, Carol.
Yeah.
We'll set up a GoFundMe for you, Carol.
So it's not necessarily.
I'm not laughing. I'm sorry for Carol.
I feel bad for Carol, too. I feel like I'm laughing because I'm mad and I don't want to like live in my anger right now. And so I'm deflecting it with humor, which is a thing a lot of people do. I think that to go with the team analogy, I don't think that these people are like going to come over to the new expansion team. Like and I think the Democrats that are trying to do that and people spending money on like snazzy ads that are like, look, she's a Air Force pilot who won 1 million awards and now she wants to save America, and like she's running against a literal pile of slime with an R stamped on top of it. Like, we're not going to win those people, but I think the best thing we could do is discourage them. And I hate to say it, but like to discourage them. Like, this isn't. You're cheering for the Astros, guys. It's not the good team. You guys are. You guys are villains, and you don't have to like switch teams, but maybe like take off the jersey.
Just take off the jersey. Okay. Yeah. Take your lawn sign down. I will say, up here, there's this one guy on a pretty big thoroughfare. We all call him Don Trump because he had a homemade sign that was not totally legible. But his sign is down, and it is the talk of the neighborhood. We're like, is Don Trump mad? What has happened?
Uh-oh.
But the thing is, the best he can do is take his sign down. Will he vote for, and also look, the one upside potentially to all this, Erin, is that these people were just actually really like that they like the star quarterback who is Donald Trump, and that when he retires from the team, maybe they'll be like, nah, the team kind of sucks. That's like a potential upside in 2028.
Yeah. So in this analogy, he is the Tom Brady of
he's
Republicans.
Actually, it's perfect.
And he is going to go down to Florida. He's going to fuck off to Florida. And then, I don't know, maybe become the governor, which would be, actually, it'd be very funny if Donald Trump moved to Florida and ran for governor because he's just addicted to being in front of crowds and having people cheer for him. And he just wants to campaign forever. That's like such a good place for a president to retire.
And as governor, he could then not endorse Ron DeSantis, who wants to run for president. And it would be like the ultimate for him.
That'd be okay. I do, after he's done being president, I would prefer him to fuck off forever.
Totally.
But this is one funny thing he could do where I would be like, okay, I'm tuning in. I want to.
Listen, we're in. Hook, line, and sinker. Make it a reality show. We'll watch it.
Right. The real mousewives of Orlando. Hysteria is brought to you by Article. Man, Article is just completely decking out my entire house at this point.
I saw your dining room chairs.
I got new dining room chairs. They are so pretty. And my old dining room chairs were also Article chairs. But these fit underneath the table a little bit better. And I think we're just going to scrub up the old Article chairs.
You needed a refresh.
Needed a refresh. I also have my table is Article. My porch couch is Article. I have a family member who has an Article bed. An Article little chair for their kid. Like, we've got so much Article in my extended family that they can just, instead of doing like photographs on the website, they can just come to our house and take pictures of various pieces because it's probably Article. Article offers curated collections for every style, like mid-century modern, coastal, and Scandi-inspired pieces that not only shine on their own, but also pair seamlessly with nearly any other Article product.
Article takes great care in curating its collection, focusing solely on high-quality, meaningful pieces that will stand the test of time. With Article's 30-day satisfaction guarantee, you can shop with confidence, knowing that if you're not completely in love with your new furniture, you can easily return it. Article's offering our listeners $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more. To claim, visit article.com/hysteria and the discount will be automatically applied at checkout. That's article.com/hysteria for $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more.
Hysteria is brought to you by Shopify. Alyssa and I, as our listeners know, we launched a business where we make screaming pillows. Those are pillows that are not designed to be slept on, only screamed into. Well,
yes,
we've heard you loud and clear. Listeners,
you love the pillow.
You love the pillow, but you're like, I want one that travels with me. So introducing the travel screaming pillow. We have an airplane screaming pillow, which is great for airport frustrations. Great for screaming into. It fits around your neck.
Yeah, it has a little belt, a little buckle so that you don't lose it.
It comes in several colors. But here's the thing. We need to get that information out to our customers, our loyal, devoted customers of the regular ass home screaming pillow, the car screaming pillow, the airplane screaming pillow, and maybe even the train screaming pillow.
Oh, don't forget the bathroom screaming pillow.
The bathroom screaming pillow. We need to make sure that our website is easy to navigate so our customers can find our tried and true bestseller product and also be introduced to these new products that we are really excited about. Shopify.
We love Shopify.
Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S., from household names like Mattel and Gymshark to brands just getting started, like our imaginary screaming pillow company.
The Screaming Pillow. Get started with your own design studio. With hundreds of ready-to-use templates, Shopify helps you build a beautiful online store to match your brand's style. Accelerate your content creation. Shopify is packed with helpful AI tools that write product descriptions, page headlines, and even enhance your product photography. Get the word out like you have a marketing team behind you. Easily create email and social media campaigns wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. And best yet, Shopify is your commerce expert with world-class expertise in everything from managing inventory to international shipping to processing returns and beyond. If you're ready to sell, you're ready to Shopify.
Turn your big business idea into with Shopify on your side. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/hysteria. Go to shopify.com/hysteria. Shopify.com/hysteria. Okay, let's get to Sani Petty. Alyssa, I'm going to go first because I just kind of was building the plane as I was flying it. I realized, like, what's my sanity quarter this week? And this is a classic Sani Petty. This is something I feel very petty about, but it makes me feel it's like a petty thing that makes me happy. Nancy Mace, Congresswoman from South Carolina. We don't like to pay attention to her because her whole thing seems to be trying to get attention.
She's chaos.
She seems, frankly, unhinged. Like not well. She seems like there is something wrong with her. Like something wrong with her. Like not in a like, you know, there's some people who are like, this person sucks, this senator sucks, this congressperson sucks. Nancy Mace seems like there is something wrong with her. Right?
Is she like pathologically pick-me?
She's a pathological pick-me, right? So the latest thing that just came out was a few years ago, Nancy Mace was sending out like very supportive tweets about Pride Month. And then fast forward to this year, and she went on like this really bizarre one-woman crusade about like bathrooms in the Capitol. And it was all this kind of like really weird attempt to get Donald Trump's attention. And he seems to only sort of be paying attention to her. And it's very strange. And then there was also the incident of a few years ago where she said Antifa vandalized her house, she says. And the vandalism had the same handwriting as her. I'm not going to conclude anything, but it made it, the vandalism
sus
was very sus, and there hasn't been that much more talk about the alleged vandalism. It was also in parts of her house that could be easily spray washed, which if I were to vandalize something, I would pick parts of the house that were not easily spray washed. But that's just me because I'm an efficient vandal, if I were to be a vandal. But the thing that made me feel both petty and Sani is that there is a report in Wired on Wired.com that reports that Nancy Mace has gone around telling her staff for like years and years that she's a computer coder. She's like a big time like computer nerd and a coder. And nobody has ever really seen her code. But she also makes her staff, according to this report, make sock puppet accounts and go online and support Nancy Mace and get in fights in the comments and pretend to be like Nancy Mace fans. Like that was some of her staff's job was to go online. Also, according to this article in Wired, that she fashioned an army of bots and some like artificial engagement to make her seem more popular and interesting than she actually is.
Wow.
Which is very, very funny to me. And it's like, given what I already think about Nancy Mace, given the publicly available information. Oh, she also earlier this year went on the floor of Congress and like accused her ex-boyfriend of like really awful things like sexual abuse and spying on her and like all of this stuff. And she didn't get in trouble because people in Congress cannot get in trouble for saying whatever they want on the floor of Congress. She's immune from like slander and libel, but also because it's on the floor of Congress, it got broadcast everywhere. So this person, whether or not they did the thing that she said that they did, has no recourse. Even if it's provably false and provably slanderous, he has no recourse. So she seems like, anyway, so given what I know about her going around and being like, I'm a computer programmer, self-taught, and then like not being good at programming computers, but actually being okay at like making botnets to support her and like making her staff pretend to like be her fans on Twitter is
She's so sad.
It's so sad. I sent this to a friend of mine who was like connected to the Congress, and she was like, what a loser. And it was like, yeah.
I mean, truly, like that is losery behavior.
Loser behavior. Like, I think that Nancy Mace is the member of Congress out of all of them who she'd be in my like top 5 members of Congress that I would refuse to be alone in a car with, you know?
Because you could not trust anything that would happen before, during, or after.
She's got steering wheel grabbing energy.
She does.
She's got something very, like, all of the time she's in the news, I'm like, that lady, something's not right.
She is off.
She's off. Indeed. So that's what's making me feel Sani and petty this week, is this news story that's like, I knew it.
You knew it. Every news story that comes out about her is an I knew it.
You're like, I fucking knew it.
And there she goes again.
There she goes again. There she goes. I hope the people of South Carolina next election cycle make a better decision, because how embarrassing for you.
She is one of the biggest embarrassments.
She is really embarrassing. Okay. Alyssa, what is keeping you sane or making you feel petty this week?
So mine is a Santa petty.
Okay.
Erin and Just Like That is back.
Oh, yes.
Okay. So much to talk about.
Okay.
One, do I need some frothy, fun fashion in my life every week? I do.
Yes.
I really do.
Yes.
It's lovely. The cityscapes of New York, I'm here for it. I love it. But I swear to God, I just had a couple threshold issues about the first one.
Okay.
First, I was like, okay, tonight's episode, first, HBO better drop 2 episodes. They didn't. They only did 1. And I'm like, this episode better leave. I was with my friend Lindsay, who listens to us every week. And I was like, Linz, we saw each other. We were together on Thursday. I was like, you know what's on tonight? She's like, and Just Like That. And we were both like, there better be 2 episodes and it better be at least 54 minutes.
No.
It was like 43 minutes. Mm-hmm. The minute it started, I was like, what? And some of that was like recap. And, do I miss Che Diaz? I kind of miss Che Diaz in their comedy concerts. I'm missing the Che energy. Mm-hmm. The fashion was almost too over the top. I mean, I think Carrie had something that could be a cross between a pillowcase, a kite, and something from Willy Wonka on in the park. That brown and white striped thing that she was wearing on her head.
Oh my God. It was hot. It to me, it was giving strawberry shortcake.
It was strawberry shortcake. It almost looked like she was going to a costume party and she was dressing as the wagon that the Ingalls rode into Walnut Grove on. Like I was like, I'm like, oh my God, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So that was crazy.
It was like a gingham chef hat.
It was a bridge too far.
Yeah.
It was a bridge too far. You and I both had a text laugh over Charlotte's Chanel dog park outfit, which was, I mean, that's a point of conspicuous consumption. If you're just wearing Chanel's to the dog park,
right?
A Chanel that would never be sold at the flagship,
right,
in New York City.
See, it was like one of those Chanel outfits that I'm like, oh, this was made for like rich Chinese ladies. Like rich middle-aged Chinese ladies. This is not like a New Yorker. This is not.
Or at the casino.
Yeah. This is like high roller or high roller wife at the casino. Like it was just not like there. Yeah, that was a weird outfit. And then
our favorite Lisa, I think her name is Lisa, who is the documentary filmmaker. She is the chicest. She is the most beautiful on the show. And she wore an Airbnb accessory around her neck. These straw rattan balls around her neck that not only did she wear to her pitch, but she somehow got the apron up over her neck around the necklace.
It was like
to
the
make
necklace
dinner.
Was being worn atop the apron. It was like decorative.
She
ball
had
balls,
to have
ball
had
balls.
rashes under her. Like it was so physically uncomfortable looking. That said,
the actress Nicole Ari Parker is her name.
She's beautiful.
She's absolutely gorgeous, but I think that she should win some kind of award for acting through that. Like it was the whole time. Like she's got one of the most beautiful faces on television, but like I could not. My eyes kept going to
her neck
ball necklace.
It was a ball necklace. Silly. It was so strange. But did I love every minute of it? I did. Am I counting down tomorrow night? I am. I hope there are 10 more seasons. But I do need just we're not even going to talk about the Aiden scene because that was appalling.
Yeah.
That was a no. I hope there's no more of that for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
But give me Carrie's house. I love her kitchen. Give me more of her kitchen. Give me Shoo the cat. I'm here. I'm in it. I'm in it. They can do nothing to drive me away.
Listen, I fear that it was foreshadowed in the last episode, in the first episode of the season, when her alarm kept saying the kitchen door was open.
Yeah.
I am afraid that this time, the final scene of this episode, the first episode,
Yes.
she shuts Shoo the cat out of her room so she can have phone sex with Aiden, but Aiden is not available for phone sex. And then she hears kitchen door open, kitchen door open. I think Shoo the cat got out. I think that's going to be a whole thing.
I have a take.
Okay.
I think Aiden sneaks in through the back door. I mean, the kitchen door.
Yeah, but he's in bed with his.
No, like in a coming episode.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe
I
she
think,
like.
and she
stands her. Carrie stands her ground.
Maybe
him.
she. Yes. Do you think Carrie has a gun now that she lives alone?
I don't know. Who do
in
you
a
think,
house?
Who do you think of the cast of And Just Like That? Who do you think is most likely to have a gun?
Miranda.
Ugh. Then she'd do something dumb, like, because this iteration of Miranda is so like disappointingly like, like she's just like, like, except in this episode she was confident because
she was confident. She was a little mean.
Rejecting Rosie
to
O'Donnell,
the tourist nun.
The nun. Yeah, I think, like, I don't know, maybe we'll get confident Miranda back. Kristen Davis, her only plot line in this episode was like,
the dog park.
Somebody thinks my dog is mean. My dog's not mean. See, I told you my dog's not mean. And it's like,
and you know what? We followed the journey all the way through.
You know what? I could have used Che. I miss Che.
Give me some Che. I miss Che. You know what I don't miss, though? I don't miss the podcast storyline.
Yeah.
I always felt like that was filler flower of the episode. So I'm glad that's done.
Yeah, I am glad that's done. I am also, gosh, you know what? I'm watching the show and I'm like, this is not a good show. There were, I think some of the scenes. No, it's not a good show. Some of the scenes are very tightly written and they like wrap up in a bow really nicely. But what made it work in the original Sex and the City was like the performances, and I think Sarah Jessica Parker has the chops. Every scene she's in, even if the writing, even if like something falls a little flat or I'm like the situation is silly, I'm like, that's okay. SJP is pulling this off, right? But not she is best actor in the cast. Like she's the funniest. She's the one pulling it off. She's just, and I really just miss Kim Cattrall. I really, really miss her.
I love every minute of it. And let me tell you, you know what I love the most?
Mm-hmm.
I love that HBO fundamentally understands that in order to watch The Mountainhead, I need And Just Like That.
Yeah. Oh, I haven't watched that yet, but I'm really excited.
Oh, you should watch it. But don't watch it before bed.
Okay. Yeah, no, you told me that. Me that. Okay, well, here's to And Just Like That. And I'm also excited for more Love Island USA. I got to say, last summer.
I got to start it.
Yeah, last summer when the vibes were terrible, like after I gave birth like on Father's Day last summer. Mm-hmm. And then the debate was like a week later. I turned it on for 2 minutes in the middle of his abortion answer. And then I was like, and off. And then that whole summer, my mental health was sustained by Love Island USA content. And so there's like I have like a nostalgic relationship with the show because it's like the vibes are bad again, man. And like,
no, the vibes are bad again. I have that same relationship with Sister Wives.
Yeah.
That's why I love it so much.
Yeah.
It sustains me through dark times.
It's not like I'm not going to tune out, but like we can't all be like dialed in all the time. Because,
no.
Like it's like when you're at Subway, right? And you watch them make your sandwich and they're making it bad. And you're like, I'm just not going to watch it.
It's going to taste the same.
Yeah.
Just look away.
It's the same. Just look away. There are moments when you just got to look away from them making the Subway sandwich all fucked up. All right. On that very dumb joke, that's all the time we have. Alyssa Mastromonaco, thank you so much for being my ride or die this week and every week. Listeners, we love you so much. If you want to hang out with us virtually, we are on the Discord, which is available to friends of the pod. So if you want to, we jump in there and we chitter chatter from time to time. And there's some really interesting conversations and the other people in the community are really great and fun and cool. Mm-hmm. And I think you would enjoy being a part of that. You can also reach out to us at hysteria@crooked.com. That's our email address. A bunch of us check it, so don't get too personal. But we love hearing from you. We love tips. We love corrections if they're worded nicely. We love thoughts. We love anything that you guys want to say to us. We love hearing from you.